All right. Uh, Gregory Ford, CanadianBlackBusiness.com. So, uh, like I was saying in my last video, I don't really like going on social media or, what I'm saying, going on YouTube and making videos and stuff like that. That's not me. But, yeah, there's so much going on in the world right now, and I feel like it's not being addressed. So I kind of have to address it. Um, I feel like I need to address it. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to talk about the shift that's going on with black people in the diaspora. Okay, so one of the things that, or some of the things that we struggle with in the black community is, unity. Uh, uh, we struggle to work together. We struggle to get along with one another, and I feel like there are certain things that are going on now that are starting to change that. Um, so I'll just kind of break it down a little bit. Um, so if you look at other races and the things that they have in common, so for instance, if you're Greek, okay, what language do you speak? You speak Greek, right? All Greek people speak Greek, okay? If you're Greek, what country do you come from? What area do you come from? You come from Greece. All Greek people come from Greece, okay? If you are Japanese, what language do you speak? You speak Japanese. Where do you come from? Where do all Japanese people come from? They come from where? Japan. You understand what I'm saying? Italians. Okay. If you're Italian, what language do you speak? You speak Italian. And where do all Italian people come from? They come from Italy. So when you have a group of people, I could go on forever, but when you have a group of people that has a common language, has a common geography, you understand where they all come from. They have a commonality that's very very valuable. You understand what I'm saying? Anywhere they go in the world, if you're a Greek person and you go to Spain and you see a Greek person, well, you can talk to them and speak Greek, and the two of you will understand one another, and you will have a camaraderie there. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, and this goes for most of, pretty much all of the other cultures in our world. Okay, um, now, uh, uh, on they have a language, they have in common, they have a culture in common, they have a geography, a location in common. They can talk to each other about different things that they experienced, growing up in that particular area in the world. Okay, so they're unified. You understand what I'm saying? So with black people, okay, we don't have any of that. Okay, and that's one of our major problems. Okay, when it comes to unifying and coming together. Why? Because of the transatlantic slave trade is a big, huge part of it. Okay, black people were never always all together ever. You know what I'm saying? Because they always had different tribes and different languages and this and that. But we didn't see each other as black because we were just the concept of black and white didn't exist in ancient African history. That's why you never see it in any ancient or in any ancient literature, even black or white. You hardly ever heard any reference to skin color or race, because race didn't exist. Was invented by Europeans, basically to excuse themselves from doing what they did in the transatlantic slave trade. Anyway, that's I digress. But basically, we as black people don't have the same avenues that other races have in terms of unifying. I'll give you some examples. So, if you're black, and like I said, I'll I'm not picking on Greek people or Italian people, or whatever, but if you're Greek or Italian, where are you from? You're from Greece. You're from Italy. If you're black, where are you from? There's no country black. You understand what I'm saying? So we don't have a location where we can say, okay, we're all from there. Okay? If you're Greek or you're Italian, you're Japanese, what language do you speak? You speak Greek, you speak Italian, you speak Japanese. There's no language black. You understand what I'm saying? So we could go anywhere on the face of the planet Earth, and we can see another black person, and because of this transatlantic slave trade, they might speak Spanish and I might speak English, or I might speak French and they might speak Portuguese if they're in Brazil, because they were enslaved by the Portuguese. So we don't have a lot of the same we don't have a lot of the same it's a lot harder for us to unite with one another because we don't have a lot of things in common. That's what I'm trying to say. We don't have a lot of things in common, where other races have a lot of things in common. They have their language in common. They have their culture in common. They have their food in common. I come from my roots are in Barbados, but I might meet somebody, who's from, Brazil, and their food is totally different than mine. So we don't even have that in common. So these are the things that kind of I feel, have been keeping black people sort of separated from one another and not always trying to be, united. Now, I'll get to the point. I feel like that's starting to change now. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like black people are starting to wake up a little bit, which is something that I've been waiting for a long time and trying to bring about for a long time. You have this whole movement of, return to Africa, where people from the diaspora are going back to Africa and being welcomed and having opportunities to work and have a social insurance number right away. As soon as you get there, like, you could work, you could contribute to the society. And there's a lot of unity going on between blacks from the diaspora and blacks, black African, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really seeing that's a big difference. That was one of the things that I said in my mind, for many, many years, that would have to change if we wanted to actually unite and become powerful again as a people, what I'm saying, as black people. That was one of the things that I felt definitely needed to happen, and it's happening. Okay, you getting a lot of black people from North America going to Africa and starting a new life, and that's amazing. Because now we have a location where, just like the other races have a location, now you can say, okay, well, I'm my location is Africa, and we're all, we can all unite there. We're the same thing that they do. You know what I'm saying? Another issue that was a problem was language, which I just, illustrated to you, where people from a certain country or culture or race would speak the same language: Japanese, Chinese, French, Italian, German, whatever. They all speak their language. German people speak German. You know what I mean? Black people, there's no language black, right? But now, if you look, and you can Google this, okay? In Africa right now, there's been a move, and it's been on since like almost 2 years now, where they're trying to get all of African people on the continent to speak Swahili. That's going to be like the continental, language. It's not going to be for us because we're, older. I'm in my 40s, so I'm not going to see it. But the fact is, the kids that are coming up now in all of the African countries, they're all going to learn Swahili. And they're all going to be able to speak Swahili. So all of the African countries are all going to be able to communicate with one another in the same language. And that hasn't been done ever. Because the first thing the Europeans did when they colonized Africa, it was to separate everybody, and everyone spoke a different language, and this one spoke French and that one spoke English. And then, on top of that, you had, different dialects and languages amongst the African people, Igbo and, all these different, dialects and languages. So now the young kids that are growing up in elementary school and high school, they're all going to be learning Swahili. So can you imagine a whole continent speaking the same language? Black people, okay? It happens already. Like, like for instance, like, North America, everyone speaks English, but black people, you already know us, man. We're we're very, very, creative. And so I think it's going to be amazing having all, black people on the continent of Africa speaking the same language. That's going to be extremely powerful because it's going to increase trade. It's going to increase, morale. It's going to increase, just loyalty amongst one another, and it's going to be amazing. So these are just some of the things that I've been seeing that's going on in the black community worldwide, and I don't want to make the video too damn long, so I'm gonna end it right here. Gregory Ford, check me out. I'm in Montreal, Canada. CanadianBlackBusiness.com, or you can go on GregoryFord.com. Check me out, hit me back, and let's do this.